gathered some of the industry's top builders and fabricators on this stage to show their skills live and in person. Watch as they chop, grind, and weld their creations right before your very eyes. Feel free to ask questions anytime directly to your host, Pat Jansen. The doors to the shop are open, so pull up a stool, kick back, and welcome to the Grease and Gears Garage.
All right, Laconia, it's wet here, but we're not giving up. We promised you guys we were going to do a segment on new rider maintenance. What are the things that you want to pay attention to on your motorcycle as a new rider? The worst thing you can do is not maintain your motorcycle. It's a terrible way for two reasons: for the longevity of your motorcycle and the work and parts that you have to pay attention to. Also, for safety. One of the best single things you can do for a motorcycle for maintenance to constantly check safety, if no one's ever told you this, is wash it. Because taking that sponge all over the motorcycle, taking a cloth and drying it, you're going to see when things are loose, when something's broken, things that you're not normally paying attention to that are down on the lower parts of the motorcycle. It's one of the best things. Today, I'm joined by Michelle Bartram. Michelle, how long you been riding now?
Less than a year.
Less than a year. So you got this Sportster. This is your first motorcycle.
Right.
And we've talked a couple times. I have an inside track here because this is my sister-in-law. But we've talked several times. She's wanted to come to my garage and actually go over the basic maintenance issues of the motorcycle and learn some stuff. And I thought this would be a better environment for that because it's great questions. There's a lot of times questions that people don't want to ask in public. You know, they're embarrassed at thinking that they should know.
And that's the funny part about it. If you're that embarrassed and you end up ruining a $10,000 motorcycle because you're embarrassed, ask questions.
Yeah, or possibly going down because of something basic that you can take care of. So to handle this, we've asked Rich Petoniak to come back up on stage. Harley Davidson in Southampton is his day gig.
Hey, hold on. He's a little winded from carrying all his trophies to the truck.
Just walked away with 3 trophies. One of them was best of show from our bike show today here.
He hasn't given us the check yet, but that's besides the point.
But Rich, come on in here. I'm gonna turn you guys loose and let you take the rest of this segment. I don't even know what all you're going to go over. You agreed to come in and do this segment, and I think this is going to be something real valuable that we'll even want to transpose into an article in the magazine. So from here's Rich Petoniak.
Hey, Michelle.
Hey, Rich.
All right, so basically for anybody that buys, whether you're a beginner or you've been riding for years, I think the first thing to do for everyone when you buy a motorcycle, especially used, but it'll also work if you buy a new motorcycle just on your own general maintenance and taking care of your bike yourself anyhow.
Hey, and on that, don't feel silly because I can probably introduce you to 50 people I know that don't know any of this either.
Oh, no, and I don't feel silly.
I mean, in general, like you, that nobody should. You know what I mean? This is stuff that you should need to, on top of the saving money.
No, I mean, even people that have been riding for years and years, there's certain things that a lot of people just, you overlook.
Don't pay attention to.
Like your air pressure on your tires. Like, I mean, even people riding for years, you don't think of it, you take it for granted, and you don't check them very often. And as a tech working on bikes, for a living, when you see bikes come in, and even if you're doing something to the bike that's completely non-related to the, say for tire pressure, you check these things anyhow.
Right.
And really a lot, tire pressures are low. So that's one thing that's a simple thing for anybody to check. Simple pencil tire gauge, any tire gauge, and just check your tires. But if you're buying a used bike, also a good thing to do is checking, say, your tire depth.
Correct.
The tread depth. So 330 seconds is the limit of at that point.
Okay.
That's where you're not going to be able to get a sticker if it's anything underneath that. So that's one thing that you check is take a visual of your tires, and then a 330-second gauge. I mean, you can get these simple things at like any auto parts store.
Yeah.
The Harley dealer has a little air gauge with a tread depth on it. It's a simple thing. Put it in, check your tread depth. So that's something that's really simple that, like I said, as a beginner. It's
visuals.
Yeah.
So you looking at the tire right now, how does that look to you?
No, these tires look good.
Great.
These tires look good. But this is, like I said, it's one simple thing, and this is like a huge safety thing. Like in general, a lot of people like to look at the bike and maybe look at how the
Pretty
chrome is and the paint and stuff like that.
Right.
Which all that is kind of important too. It does show how a bike was taken care of even
Right.
previous to you buying it. You know, if someone just leaves it out in the snow, in the winter, in the rain, or whatever, you know. So that's all part of. Keeping up your bike also is just taking care of it. Like Chris said, just washing your bike, taking care of the thing, is just part of owning a motorcycle.
Right.
So tire pressure is your first thing. Check your tire pressures front and back. Every bike has different tire pressures for what it is. So you can look at your manual. It also it'll
say on the tire.
Yeah, it'll
itself.
say it on the tire, just like a car, your truck,
Right.
same type, the same thing.
Just written a little smaller.
Yep. Just a little bit smaller. So
Could look a little harder.
that's one thing as far as that goes. Another thing is you got a flashlight. So
On the side. One time. There you go.
So another good visual to do is right here. You look straight on. Here's your brake disc. So you look at your brake pads, your thickness of your brake pad. You see the inside, the brake pad thickness. You have a thickness of your brake pad
Right.
until before it's metal on metal.
Okay.
So you look at that visual on the inside, and the outside, and you look at it straight on, and make sure your brake pads look good. So you can see a thickness. If you were again, you could actually to see what the thick. I look at this every day, so I
Right.
can look at pads that I know. So once brake pads start to get below half. Usually, you let your customer know, hey, listen, your brake pads are less than half.
Okay.
But once they get, maybe down about a quarter thickness, you'd be like, look, you should probably.
Yeah, it's time to change.
It's time to change them. And if you have a customer that comes in every 5,000 miles for a service or something like that, or if you're doing it yourself, do you know what I mean? Then obviously, you change them on your own. So, but yours, these look really good. They just look excellent. Like not a lot of miles. How many miles are on this bike?
Just under 20,000.
Yeah, so you got some miles on it, and brake pad thickness changes on everybody's bike, front, back. You could have the exact same model bike,
Yeah.
and then your brake pads would be different on the front or back. Some people use the back brakes
More
all
than
the
the
time.
front, yeah.
Some people use the front brakes all the time, so they're going to wear differently. Some people live up in the hills and the mountains, so they're
Right.
always using brakes, and
Right.
some people, you ride to work every day, you're putting miles on, you're on the highway or whatever,
Right.
your brake's going to
Yeah,
last a
some
lot
people
longer.
slow down a lot more using their clutch and downshifting compared to braking. So
Okay.
Yep. So these are the first things of going over your bike, and we'll look at the back as well. So same thing, and obviously on your brake rotor you would want to look for any grooves or anything.
Like a car.
Like a car, if it was gouges or grooves or whatever in it. So, but your brake pads, they look excellent. So
I think these were actually
I
changed
was about to
a little
say,
bit
yeah.
before I got this.
yeah, exactly. Yep. So someone's done taking care of the maintenance on it, change the brake pads because they don't look like 20,000 mile brake pads,
Right.
Unless somebody put 20,000 miles on a highway and
Right.
didn't have to use brakes much. But these look like these pad thicknesses look good. So again, same thing with your tread on your tires.
Great.
Same thing, look good. Now, also on your tread depth, you can have tires that have really good tread depth, and the tread depth is good, but maybe they're old in their age, so you got to look for dry rot.
For cracks.
Yeah, exactly. So you could have a tire that's got look at how much tread is on that.
Yeah.
But maybe the bike, depending on
Sat
where
for
it's sitting,
years?
yeah, sat
Okay.
for years, and so you look for dry rot. Usually look at it in the depth of the tread on the tire. You look at it there, and also on
along
the
the rim
sidewall.
and-
Sidewall as well. So that's something you look for in dry rot. So these are like I said, first few safety things. Obviously something else.
belt
is good.
tension,
Yep.
checking your belt,
So,
making
and
sure.
that's what drove me to start asking questions as I was riding and my belt snapped.
Yeah.
Oh, this belt. Yep.
Yes, so I ended up having to replace it, but that's what really drove me to start asking questions. I want to know because I should have been able to tell before I was on the bike that there
Yeah,
was
well, I mean,
an
it could have
issue.
been a rock or something, but in general, looking for cuts or
Right. Well,
bangings.
these were super loose. Too.
Yeah,
They
then
were
somebody
just,
didn't
it was
tighten something
flopping.
up.
Yeah, exactly. So somebody maybe changed a tire, and maybe that they didn't tighten the axle properly, something like that.
Right.
So I mean, now getting a little bit more than just your visual of your tires and things like that. Obviously, you'd want to make sure that your axle is tight. Someone did that. If your plates,
That's a little loose.
yep. I mean, a little bit, but obviously you got a castle nut here, with the safety clip right here, so this won't come out. So you have to have that. So I mean, again, like I said, checking those things. Now, as far as your belt tension goes, the way you check your belt tension is you see this right here.
Right.
Okay, this is the lower belt guard, and then has that slot with all these little ribs in it right here. There's it's a pound gauge. You push up on that gauge right here, and then this bike here, it's a 2004 Sportster.
Correct.
Right, which is actually the first year for rubber mounted for the Sportsters.
Yep.
Make them a lot smoother than previous years. But anyhow, you take a pound gauge, and you press it right underneath where this slot is right here, and 10 pounds is actually what it would be, and this should not move more than a half an inch.
So that looks
pound.
like it's loose to me.
No, that's
no,
good.
it looks
No,
good.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I mean, that's.
And also another thing is if it feels super tight, move the bike because it will change the tension.
Yeah, sometimes belts track slightly in one or the other. Yep. And you could just roll it forward, roll it back.
Yeah.
Double check it a couple of times. Anyhow, but that's good. I mean,
it definitely shouldn't be a guitar string. I mean, so I've seen people put them on there so tight.
Yes, that it'll break. That's one reason how they'll snap if they're put on too tight, or if you're like that guy out there and you're doing hole shots and burnouts, you can snap your belt as well.
The other thing that I've actually run into is you have the opening here, so sometimes you move it around and look and make sure you can feel how nice and smooth
you can
the
see that
grooves
was replaced.
Yeah,
at some
you
point,
look like
so.
a lot of
that's
times
got
you'll
about
see
100
them.
miles on it. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, a
it
lot
looks
of
like a
times
new
you'll
belt.
see them. There will be big chunks of the, I mean, obviously you can get a rock in there or something.
Right.
It
a
does
stone
happen.
or something like that. Yep. So I mean, obviously, if you wanted to roll your bike,
Check it
if
in
you
the
don't
back.
if you don't have a jack to put underneath
Right.
it, you have this visual spot right here, down here, so you can just roll it, look at it, just to take a visual once in a while.
Okay.
Again, when you're washing your bike, just you even look at your area every once in a while, roll it, check it again, roll it, check it again. It's just something to keep an eye on every once in a while. Another simple thing to look at for anybody and everybody is, turn your key on. I mean, check your turn signals. I mean, we have guys that come in, you get an inspection sticker, and the turn signal, one of the lights is out. Whether they knew it or not, you know what I mean? Or maybe, who knows, maybe somebody had a wiring problem.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just a bulb, and maybe they didn't check it. So go around your own bike every once in a while. Just check it. It's your own safety. When you're riding around at whether it's day or night, I mean, it's your turn signal. Lets the guy in front of you know where you're going and behind you know where you're going, so it's safe. So same thing, just check your turn signals. Good.
Right.
Your high beam, your low beam, make sure all that's working. All that's going to get checked in your yearly inspection anyhow. But don't wait once a year just to get your own visual, simple stuff that you can check yourself, Your horn, high-low beam. I mean, as far as all your electrics go, that's so simple stuff that everybody can check themselves. I mean, it's just knowing your own bike.
Right.
So, again, whether you're a beginner or whether you've been riding for 30 years, I mean, check your tire pressure. I mean, we see a lot of bikes, like I said, low tire pressure. I'll tell you one bike that has low tire pressure a lot. Even people have been riding for years. The one bike that has low tire pressure all the time are baggers.
Yep.
Because most guys don't want to get down on their hands and knees on the ground.
Dig underneath their bag.
Underneath. You know what I mean? And they don't want to go down in the...
they'll lazy their way out of a flat tire. And the other thing with baggers, too, that's another big factor that I've run into, ended up with air pump shocks, one shock being low.
Yeah.
And you're hammering down the highway and you go to take a bend and that bike starts frogging across the highway. I did 3 lanes one day, and that's all that it ended up being was I just got on it to go for a ride, and the guy never checked it.
So like on a touring bike where you actually have an air shock, you got a pressure gauge for a touring bike too. You know what I mean? Check your air and your shocks. And everybody I mean, you have a ballpark of a recommended air pressure for a tire shock. So, and of course, whether you're riding solo, whether you're riding 2-up, things like that, you might want your pressure a little different. But it's just about knowing your bike.
Right.
You should know.
And that's where the washing, and that's where like as silly as it is, when you're wiping it off with a rag and you pull it out and there's oil like this on it,
right.
then maybe I better check in that,
Right. That is one of the first things Chris told me.
Yep.
Wash your bike constantly.
Yeah, see, that's where I'm totally, I don't wash anything I own. So, but I'm a visualizer. I'm always tinkering with stuff. So, I mean, for the beginner that doesn't know this is great stuff. The older guys, we're playing with them all the time. So I don't have to be in that position. But the little things like those air shocks and looking at your belt, so many people overlook it.
Like just a
I
valve
just that,
stem cap. Yeah.
Listen.
No big deal, but get a valve stem cap, put a valve stem cap on it. It should just be on there, So, again, those are some really simple things that everybody should check on your bike. So, and brakes and tires are the most important thing at all. I mean, I've had customers give me $4,000, build my bike, make my motor, make it faster. If you bring in the shop, you're working, that's the job. You're pulling the motor apart, but while it's on a lift, you look at the back tires. Hey, then you call the customer up, hey, you got dry rot in your tires, or you need brake pads.
Yeah.
I'll do it at the end of the year. So you're making your bike faster.
Yeah.
And
with
you don't
the dry rotted tire.
Yeah, and you don't want to change your tire.
Yeah.
So
you can't change stupid sometimes.
Safety is the most important thing.
Yep.
I mean, we don't have a big cage around us like in a car. You're on a motorcycle, so you want to. It's also making your bike handle its best, stop as best as you can make it. It'll stop. I mean, good brake pads and good tires. When you grab a handful of brake when you need it, stopping short by 6 feet could save your life.
Right.
So I mean.
And in the riding, too, I mean, when you're riding down the road, even somewhere slow, if you feel something funny, stop and take a look. Don't take a chance,
Yep.
Feel a weird vibration or something feels loose. It's, tire pressure. Just look at the small things,
Yep.
It's amazing how those little tiny things can creep up on you.
Exactly. So I mean, as far as that goes for safety things like that, if you ever have anything in question, the first couple things are hugely safe. Obviously, I make sure, and my axle nuts here. My axle nuts there.
Right. I have air pressure in my tires.
Yeah. And I've seen people come in before with the nut like loose on this thing. Or just as loose. Like this one's got a castle nut on it, but not all models have that.
No, they don't. Right.
Like the front one does it, but I've seen that before. And then somebody be like, I got a little bit of something's weird.
Wobble,
it just it doesn't feel right. Can you take a look at it?
Something that simple.
Yep, and you look at the tire condition.
Especially on the fronts with the two bolts come up into the bottom of the lower leg. I've seen a ton of those things slide out.
Yep, exactly. But even though if you got like you said, you got you either got the two on the bottom or you got a pinch on that side.
Yep.
The axle's not going to go anywhere. But if you got a nut that's loose on the side, one leg,
it's going to start.
Feels weird. The wheel's still going to.
Yeah, the front fork's going to be moving.
So those are like. Again, simple safety things that everybody can check, And as far as your basic maintenance you want to go, I mean, obviously, if you're riding a bike all the time, you can feel how your clutch feels. Here's another simple thing as far as your clutch goes. Like, see how your clutch is right here? Like, you take your cable, and you see this little bit of play right there, like, like about a 16th. That's good. That's what it should be. So I mean, if your clutch ever felt weird or something like that, you make sure that you have just some free play.
A little bit of play.
Yeah, I mean that's something. That's not something that's every week you need to check something like that. But just something once.
Yeah.
And it's just being aware that that's what it's supposed to be.
Right.
You know what I mean? So another simple thing as well. So. Let's see, where else do you want to go? You have any other questions you would want to ask above and beyond all these, first simple things?
How often do you change the spark plugs? Just silly things like that.
Well, I mean, you have to consult your manual. Some manuals might say, every 20,000 mile interval.
Some will say 25.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, some say 25,000. But you know what? knowing your own bike, and if you're going to change your oil yourself, you know what I mean?
Right.
Pull one out and look at it.
Pull one out and look at it.
Yep.
You know, and then
we just had this conversation, and on top of
that's how
that,
you read how your motor is running.
On top of pulling that spark plug out, checking to see if it's okay, looking at the color of the insulator, like Rich was actually going through this with us the other day, you could literally diagnose your engine by staring at your spark plug for a second.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So, I mean,
and to boot, another big thing here, at which we went over, probably the most important tool that you have is exactly what you're doing. Consult somebody that knows what they're doing. Pick up the phone and call. You know what I mean? Don't try and do it yourself if you can't, because you're going to learn so much more.
Yeah, I mean, there's never a stupid question.
No, there really isn't.
Even people that have been doing this for 30 or 40 years, well, guess what? 30 years ago, they didn't know anything either.
Right,
they had to learn by asking somebody that's been doing it for a long time questions, and that's how people that learn. When I was young and I was 18, 19 years old, this always stuck with me. When I was young, because when you're a teenager, you know everything, right?
Hey, and I still, to this day, I mean, building this bike
you learn
multiple times. Chris had been doing something, and I needed to pick the phone up. Ronnie Tonetti, North Hill Cycles, painted it and answered 10 questions for me, a few other things I needed help with.
Yep.
I mean,
there's always someone that's done something
that's right.
more,
right.
You know, and you have to ask these questions. Like I said, when I was young, you think you kind of know it as a teenager.
Yep.
But someone that was older than me that I respected said to me one time, the smart person asks a lot of questions.
Oh, yeah.
And the person that's not smart doesn't ask questions. Of course, when you're a kid right away, you're like, well, if he's smart, he doesn't need to ask questions.
Yeah.
No, that's how he got smart.
That's how he got there.
That's how he got there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I always remember that. So I learn from people. You never too embarrassed to ask a question.
Right. Oh, yeah. I mean, we put a 6-speed in this thing, and I knew it was above my grade. And I knew I'd call, and that was the first thing I did.
You just asked. Yeah, I mean, it's the same exact thing. Whatever it is. I mean, that guy that's building blower race cars for a living, you know what? Well, maybe he just got a motorcycle.
Yeah.
You know, he never turned a wrench on one once. Well, he's going to have to ask somebody something.
Right.
So keep in mind, I mean, one of the most important things you can do is if you are lost, if you do have a question, ask. It might save your life. It might be something so silly that, you know,
again,
your life's worth more than, I don't want to ask how somebody's going to think I'm dumb.
Yeah, well, you don't have to worry about that. I don't worry about people thinking I'm dumb.
But do you know how many people do?
Yeah.
You know, you can't be a tough guy and ride a bike and ask a question. You got to know everything. No, you really don't.
So anyhow, those are some of the safety things about your bike. And like Chris pointed out at the beginning, washing your bike is taking care of your bike. And it's not just about making it clean. It's like knowing your bike. This big piece of chrome here, you know, what is it? You know what I mean? Like, so you
just wiping it off. You found a scratch on your derby cover. You know, like something that silly is.
Or you found one bolt missing, whatever, gone. What, you know, and that's everything around your whole bike. You know what I mean? And if you see something, you know, hey, why is this bolt missing here? Or why is one here? You know what I mean? So, you know, then ask somebody, hey, I got a question about this. You know,
is it supposed to look this way? Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Yep. So there's just to ask questions to anybody.
You want to ask somebody that knows. Don't just ask some guy. Don't pull up in a red light and be like, hey, dude, can you tell me what's up with it? Yeah, exactly. Oh, Chris.
yeah, exactly. You just ask questions to anybody that's done whatever it is that you want to know about. Right. So, more. Anything else? I mean, think of anything else of anybody else you ever knew that just wanted to learn a bike or maybe something that you've seen.
No, I mean.
Oh, here's another good thing on your bike. So, when your bike is cold,
right?
All right, and you want to basically fiddle around with things, look for things, touch everything. You know, like if you're looking for noises, we're gonna do that. That's coming up. Yep. So I don't know, short segment. So I was just about to say, here's another thing as far as just kind of safety things. Look at your bike again when it's cold. You know what I mean? Kind of just sort of make sure that nothing is loose. That's all. You know what I mean? You know, check your exhaust. You know, feel it, things that could commonly come loose or whatever. Yep. And the same thing, like I said, with your oil, with your air cleaner. So now we're going to do your fluids. Now we can do your fluids. Okay. So when the bike is warm, because we already had this thing running previous to this, we had it warmed up. So it's warm enough at this point. So, but anyhow, changing your oil. Now, as far as changing your motor oil goes, it's on this side here in Sportsters. This little clip right here.
Yep.
And then different model Sportsters, there's different. Some of them there's actually have a little plug that's kind of welded part of the frame, and the hose goes on it. Some of them don't have this clip at all. It just has like a little plug that's in it. But this one, you have this one here, so we can undo that. We can start draining your fluid.
We're gonna. Oh, okay.
Need a screwdriver, Mark?
Yep. I'm on it.
So you're basically what? Just gonna remove?
Yep, we're just gonna do that. Pull the plug out.
All right.
And before you do that, we're gonna take this off here, where your oil goes. So you usually always remove your oil, whether it's a Sportster or a Big Twin. Usually undo all these first here also, just because when you go to drain your oil, it'll all drain faster. It's not like it's like a vacuum lock of not having it open. Thank you, sir. All right.
And I'll do it.
You want to do it?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, because I
Yep.
want to be able to do it.
Yep.
So it's filthy.
Rich?
Am I going to take it all the way off?
Nope, just don't loosen it up, just so you'll be able to twist that out of there.
1/4 inch or 5/16, Rich?
5/16. She's got it already, though.
She got it?
Yeah.
You'll be able to get that out now. May want to hold the hose. Coming? Yep.
Yep.
Perfect, and we'll just let that drain.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, the letting it drain. I've asked people, or people have asked me before about how long do you let the oil drain out of the bike, and
Till it's empty?
you know,
Is that a trick question?
no. I've actually said, had people say to me, "Do you need to leave it drain till?"
Overnight.
Yeah, and like no, you know,
Yeah.
you let it drain till it stops
Yeah,
draining.
let it drain till it stops draining. You know,
I
so
was going to grab one. Thanks.
Yeah, you
But,
don't need to leave it drip. Doesn't have to stay for just, it's not rocket science in all reality.
Right.
Yeah, it's not rocket science. Now, we're going to let the motor oil drain. Now, also, here's where your primary is. Now, your primary, okay, on a Sportster, it's a unit construction. So your primary, your clutch, your primary chain, it's also your transmission. So we're going to drain this oil here. So
Okay.
Sportsters have two different oils. It has your motor oil and filter, and then it has your primary oil. So your primary and your transmission are one. On a Big Twin, you have a primary, which is a separate cavity with your primary chain, your clutch in it, and then it also has a transmission, which is a separate oil. But on your bike, your primary and your transmission, all Sportsters are always it's one cavity, which this takes 1 quart exactly. So we're gonna actually I need a 5/8 wrench right here.
What? You need what?
5/8 socket. Yeah, and you can do this.
Now looking at that oil looks pretty clean, doesn't it?
It could have been changed when they
Yeah,
did the
I think
belt.
it
You
did,
don't
yeah.
know, but that's okay.
No, I did the belt.
Oh yeah, okay.
A friend and
great.
and I actually did the belt.
Yep. Yep.
Nope.
Too small?
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Nope, got it.
Get it?
When you get it easy enough so you can kind of maybe spin it by finger, will
Let's see.
if it is, but just so we can slip this back underneath it.
A few more.
Getting easier?
Yep, got
There
it.
you go. Just enough so we can grab that oil. All right, I need a 3/16 Allen mark. Yeah, we'll wipe all that off too.
I got a little destroyed over here yesterday, Rich. Give me a second.
Okay. So the oil that we're going to use, okay,
Yep.
the oil we're going to use is this is for Harley Davidson oil, Screaming Eagle synthetic. They call it Syn 3. So you can use it in the engine and your transmission, you know, and where your whole primary is with your clutches. So it's formulated for that. There's additives, so that's why they call this Syn 3. So it does all three: motor, your transmission, and your clutch. So again, this is going to get one. We got to get this cover off. So as he grabs us an Allen wrench.
I got like 9 5/16s. Can you use one of those for something? You sure?
I'm sure.
You be getting really picky now, Rich.
And while we're at it, Mark, we're going to also probably need an oil filter wrench or something to grab the oil filter off. If you must have one of those. Do you have a regular? Just even a regular, Allen? No, sir.
What's that? What is it?
5:30 seconds.
It's
So-
you need 5:30 seconds.
5:30 seconds.
So I got
I'm
a
sorry.
question for you. See
Yes.
all these chips?
Yep. So, yep, that's another thing. So, on your drain plug, there's a
It's a
magnet.
magnet.
Yeah, there's a magnet on your drain plug. So you check your magnet, and you know it catches anything from inside, all inside here, any little gathering, any little particles. You clean it off. So you have some stuff a little bit here. We're gonna clean this off, and we're gonna check your primary chain adjustment.
Okay.
Okay? So. It has a little bit of some wear collected here, but we don't know when the last time anybody had done that with. Okay, so but we're gonna try and get a visual of your primary chain. I don't see anything that's a problem. You do see a little bit. Perfect. Okay. Same thing, get those two out. And kind of go, delicate, you know what I mean? Yeah, there you go. Just make sure they come out easy.
So the good news and the bad news is we can get the oil filter off, but the oil filter wrench is not here.
We don't have an oil filter wrench. You have the grip kind?
Yeah, well, no, I have we'll get off, we'll take it off with the adjustables, but normally we have an oil filter wrench.
Okay.
We downsized the box and a half to come here, so.
Okay. Do we have something to get the oil filter off?
Oh yeah, it's adjustable wrench or adjustable pliers. So.
Yeah.
That's the easy part. We'll get it. Oh. We'll get it off, Rich.
Yep. So. Now, this is something also. This is your primary chain.
Okay.
This on your primary chain right here, okay?
Yep.
Same thing. You have an amount of adjustment right here as well. That's a little loose, so we're going to adjust that because it is a little loose.
Okay.
Now, you don't want any more. Half an inch is the max that you would want this when the engine's cold, because usually when it gets warm, it does get a little bit tighter. So we're actually going to adjust that.
Okay.
Oh, got a little magnet on here.
Oh, is that? Oh, nice.
Yeah. So as soon as we get Mark.
So how do you adjust that?
What do we need?
Yep, right here. We're gonna need. Oh, what is this? 7/8, 11/16, 11/16 and a 1/4 inch. No, where 13/16. I'm sorry, I'm off.
Is it?
I'm off on my 16ths here today. No, and that is not it either.
One bigger?
Yes, sir. Sorry. It's funny because I'm such a big twin guy. All right. Now, when we loosen this check nut right here, that just went flying. We loosen this check nut right here. All right. I need an Allen wrench actually. Do you have a set of Allen wrenches?
Give me 1 second, Rich. I'll just bring you a handful.
Yes. And this is not something that you would have to do. Like your motor oil, you'll do, your normal oil change, service intervals.
Where are you at size-wise?
I can't see shit. There we go. Okay. So again, now this right here, where's that ratchet here? Again, so the maximum this should move is a 1/2 inch max. You say 3/8 to a 1/2, but I always favor a little bit more, up towards a 1/2 because it's cold, and that's the best time to do it anyhow. Save that right there. Now, how you do this one right here is because when this is all the way tightened up right there, so you can see that chain how it drops?
Oh, yep.
Okay, so
Okay.
now it's really loose, okay? So now it had it all the way up tight right there, but what we're gonna do, all right, we're gonna hold that right there, and we're gonna back this nut off down here. All right, we're gonna bring this nut farther down, so when we turn the adjuster up, it'll snug that up.
Okay.
All right, so. A little too snug, so we're gonna back this down a little bit. You gotta just hold this in place so it doesn't move. And like I said, you just tighten it back up a little bit more, and then I'll show you you'll see how it should feel in a minute. Not too much. That's a little too much.
And that's sort of a tricky one because you got to go opposite. You know what I mean? A lot of people mess them up because they tighten and get them. They're like, oh, no, it's nice and tight now, but the chain's not tight.
Yeah.
So is that just something that might loosen up over time a little bit?
Yeah, basically like a chain, and then a motorcycle chain in the back.
Yep.
Chains stretch over age and time, So, and if we already ever pull the drain plug out and you had like like this, that's like some of this stuff here, you will see that some of that's normal. It's
Right.
it's wear. Obviously, if there's ever
Big chunk.
noise in here or
Right.
big pieces, then there's a problem and something would have to come apart. But at that point, you might probably be hearing something if it's that bad. You know what I mean? So, oh God, I'm getting old, Mark. Damn it.
And like this is general maintenance thing. This isn't a general maintenance thing to an extent, but
Yeah.
Right.
in all reality, this is something. If you run your bike a lot and all that, you almost should know how to at least pop that off and take a look at it.
Take a visual, because you do change your oil anyhow.
You're
so
right.
I mean, the next time you change your oil, I doubt you'll have to do any adjustment on this anyhow.
Right, okay.
You know, I mean, this could have, you know.
Right, unless I noticed a lot of that.
Yeah.
The pieces of what
yeah,
you want it.
Yep, exactly. Which, if it's ever anything any more than what we just saw, then you should take a look at it.
Right.
Yeah, and like you said, if you're hearing a noise from there or something that you're concerned about, you know now, pop that cover off, push up and down on that chain, see if it feels super sloppy.
Right.
So
we just basically tighten that back up. So you got about 1/2 inch right there. And basically, from where it's hanging, almost to the bottom of right there.
Okay.
To about the case opening itself.
That's about 1/2 inch.
Yeah.
No more than that ever. All right.
Okay.
It shouldn't be sloppy. Put it that way. You know.
No, it shouldn't be any more than that.
Yeah.
And you don't want it any. Like I said, it's 3/8 to 1/2 inch.
Yeah.
But when it's cold, you can go closer to 1/2, because obviously when it warms up, it's going to tighten up.
Right.
So we're going to wait a couple minutes here.
So is that good to put this back on, or do we need to keep this off?
Don't hold on. So there's an O-ring right here around your drain plug. I need a little screwdriver here. You pull that O-ring off. You got any thread sealant?
Would you do that every time you change your oil?
I have tape.
Yep. Every time you change your oil, you got a new O-ring on it.
Okay.
Because when you tighten it up, you'll crush it, and it'll lose its sealing ability.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Crap.
So I just clean it off, clean the plug up, clean the magnet. You did have a little bit of stuff on it, but I don't know how long it's been.
Tape only, Rich.
Since this was done.
Right.
Excuse me?
Tape only.
We're going to use that. Now, see how we clean this?
Yep.
All right. So the next time, because you're doing this, we're doing this right now, so you'll know how.
What
so
it
next
should
time you
look
take,
like.
Yeah, next time you take it, it shouldn't be like what it was now. I'm just guessing that could be 10,000 miles on it since we've done it. You don't know.
Right.
That's the thing when you buy a used bike. You don't always know sometimes how much they might have maintained some stuff. People could change just a motor oil and filter, overlook doing something like that. Which again, you look at your manual and it'll tell you how often you should do that also.
Let's see if we can find it here, since we had it out yesterday and obviously it didn't get put back in the same spot. So give me 1 second.
Put the new O-ring on, and you just put like a little bit of that white thread sealant on here.
Plumber's tape.
Yeah,
Or
there's
something.
actually some stuff that's actually in a tube that's more of the.
That's made for it, okay.
Yeah, gel kind. We're gonna see what he has here. If he has the tape, we'll use the tape. But I kind of like the one that's in like a little tube. It's just squirted on the threads. Yep.
Okay.
Does he have a funnel here?
Oh. Mark, do you have a funnel? Was this one? That one's fine.
We're on wrong drawer search. This is always my favorite game.
Want me to look?
Can you find what you're looking for?
No.
Michelle, while he's
Let's see
looking.
what we got here.
What do you got?
Where'd you go?
Right here.
Okay, so while he's looking for that for a minute
Okay.
here, here's something else also that is a visual that you can also look at. Right here, your brake fluid reservoir.
Okay.
Okay. You can actually there's a little sight glass in it, so you can actually see brake fluid in it, just to make sure that your brake fluid isn't low. Anything like that. Obviously, we're up kind of high on the ground here.
Right, I was
You know what I
gonna
mean?
say.
And you're vertically challenged like your
Little bit.
sister, right? So when it's on the ground, you'll be able to see in the sight glass just to take a look and see your brake fluid. So, but your brakes, they look, like I said, they look like they're fairly new on this. But what happens is when your brake pads wear and then they get thinner, and you pump your brake up, exactly. So now the pistons on your calipers have to push out the brake pads more.
Right.
So your fluid level would get lower on that. So when you get new brake pads on, you squeeze them all the way in like that. So, but anyhow, that's just like a quick visual.
So if I had to add that, where do you add it?
Yep,
Right
this
up
little,
top?
yep, the little cover. There's little covers. There's 2 little screws here, and you set it on the ground on the kickstand, and you would just turn a handlebar till you can get it at its level. You know what I mean? Where this is horizontal with the ground, so you can add it. So you can add some in there.
Okay.
But that's a visual, and you have the same thing like with your master cylinder for your rear as well. So. Oh God, I am getting old here. So well, you have forward controls on this. So I'll put forward controls on here. So, boy, I'm getting old. So you have a reservoir that's right here on this one here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so it's the same thing. There's a little sight glass in here. Try and look at this here.
Yeah, I could see it better, probably without the light.
Probably without it.
It's tough to see, actually.
But either way, and then there's the same thing. There's a little cap. There's a cap right here, and you don't unscrew the cap. Just unscrew the cap to get a visual on that.
Okay.
So, I just rode your bike earlier, and I tested your brakes front and back, and everything felt really good.
Believe me, I've tested them.
So you did find some.
Yes, I did.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
So this is the type of the thread seal I use. You get it at any auto parts store, just a white kind, and you only need a little bit. Just a little bit. Always replace your O-ring. Just add a little bit of thread sealant. You can be my guest and you can put it back in.
What do you prefer, Rich? You prefer seal or tape?
I actually prefer sealant.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, application-wise, I go back and forth, but if you have a good sealer.
Application-wise, but with these, it's, you're taking them in and out all the time, you know.
Right.
Yeah, I know if you're doing a fuel line or something on a hot rod car, you might want to use tape.
Yeah, or even like oil lines and stuff like this.
Yeah, stuff like that,
Yeah.
yep.
Something that's not going to come back out if
What
you can
did
help
we
it.
use? This
Yep.
one?
So you're good. You can screw it.
Yeah. I gotta get that one.
So pretty soon, Michelle, you're going to end up being on Grease and Gears Garage, and you'll be able to show. You can have all the ladies come up here, and you'll be doing oil changes. And
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. How we can have all female guests on here, and
That'd
you'll
be
be able to do it.
wonderful.
Okay.
It'll give me something to do in these long
Now,
New England winters.
That's you got it tightened up tight, right? There actually is an actual
Too tight?
no. There's an
Oh.
actual torque
Torque
setting
spec.
for a drain plug.
Oh, okay.
And different model bikes are different. I believe this is like 15 foot-pounds. But
I'd
when
see that.
if you do
The
this,
feel.
you do it every single day. You kind of got a feel for
Or
it.
I'm
Okay.
sure
So-
every day at the dealership you
Yeah,
still
so
use that
basically-
torque wrench.
So I tightened it up a little bit more than what you had.
Right.
So we're good. You'll get a feel for that. But again, like I said, there is an actual setting, an actual torque number for that.
Okay, so we have primary oil drained.
Yep. So
We
primary
checked
oil.
the tension on the chain over here. We have
Yep.
the engine oil drained.
Yep.
We have the oil filter loosened. So we're on a roll.
All right. So we're good with that. That's all done. We'll get your oil in a minute. He has a funnel for us.
Oh, now you want everything. I don't know if I have a funnel. Funnels are super overrated.
Well, we're going to need a funnel for this one here, I can tell you that.
Well, let me see what I have. If not, we'll have to make you a funnel.
I brought
Rich.
you the oil and the filter, courtesy of Harley Davidson of Southampton,
Yay.
Massachusetts.
Thank you, guys.
Oh, yep, no problem. So,
Chris, do we have a funnel anywhere, do you know?
So anyway, I bought the oil and filter, but I did not think to bring a funnel, my friend.
That's what I said. I could make them a funnel. I mean, if
You got any in those happy buckets back there?
What's that?
Those happy buckets you've been giving away? So oil.
Okay, yep. So your primary, like you said, so that's our drain our primary. You get the new O-ring every time, and then there's a seal here that you'll change every single time when we have one.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So typically I would change that now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same thing. There's these little O-rings on here too, but we're gonna get a little good visual of these here. See how good they look?
That,
though?
I was going to say that actually looks pretty good.
These don't get. These actually here are a lot much better.
That one's a little wonky.
That one's a little. I like that word.
What, wonky?
Wonky.
Little
Yes.
wonky?
Actually, Bonnie uses that word, wonky. Yep. So same thing. These are all the little simple things to, your basic oil change kit. You get you'll get your primary oil where you get your fill here. You check your primary chain adjustment. Like one gasket there, 2 O-rings, and then 1 O-ring right there. Obviously, there's no O-ring for our oil change because it's just you just got that,
Yep.
just the plug goes in the hose for that.
Right.
So we're gonna make a funnel here today on Greasy Gears Garage. We're gonna make a funnel here on Greasy Gears
Courtesy
Garage
of
today,
Green Mountain
and we're gonna show
Coffee.
you how to make funnels.
Yeah, that's actually an easy thing to make. So don't make funnel of making a funnel.
You gotta.
I draw the line at using duct tape on the bike. Sorry.
Yeah. Hey. Actually, a Coca-Cola bottle, and just razor blade the back end off, the big end, the bottom of it off, and then we can use the bottle. There you go. Just razor blade the bottom off. Whichever one is more convenient to do. You having fun, Michelle?
I'm having a blast.
You're having fun. Yeah.
I want to know about my bike. I like this stuff.
No, it's a cool bike. And again, like I said, 2004 is the first year that Harley Davidson started rubber mounting the Sportsters. So it's a much smooth, less vibration throughout the chassis. And actually, and these are some other little things as well that you can, look at. This is how this works here. So you have this little stabilizer here.
Yep.
So again, sort of, whatever, knowing your own bike, make sure not everything's hot around it. Make sure nothing seems loose to you, because if you're going to change the oil filter, you got to get in here. You got to change the oil filter. See, look at that, huh? We can make anything at Greasy Gears Garage, even a funnel.
That's a custom.
So anyhow, it's a rubber mount.
That's
it's
custom
rubber
funnel
mounted
making right
down there.
Rich.
And this is something that, again, if you were to experience some sort of out of the normal vibration,
Right.
that you would start to think about other issues or something. That's beyond a basic maintenance. Okay, so we're good with our awesome homemade funnel here.
Look how nice that is. It fit right in there.
Don't make funnel.
Actually, you're going to pour this in here.
Okay.
I'm going to let you do it. So, again, the primary transmission, it's all one.
1
Yeah,
quart.
1 full quart gets that. Have fun.
Great. Thanks.
Without spilling it.
have funnel.
And you can't spill it.
Have funnel.
You have funnel.
So, I do want to remind everybody real quick, you are watching Progressive's Grease and Gears Garage live at the Laconia Roadhouse. Laconia Motorcycle Week, having a great time up here. In spite of the rain today, we're making the best of it. Lots going on here. If you're not doing anything, you're sitting in. It's starting to let up. It looks like it's going to clear out of here, and the weekend's going to be beautiful. If you're within the sound of my voice, get your ass up to Laconia. We're having a party at the Roadhouse. How was that?
Great, and I'm Rich Petoniak of Harley Davidson of Southampton, Massachusetts, and we'd like to thank them also for donating the oil and the filter to us for this our service here on Michelle's 2004 Sportster.
Hey, and I do really have
Sort
to
of
give it
feeling
up
left
to.
out. I don't have anybody to thank.
I do have to give it up to Harley Davidson of Southampton because on a moment's notice, we asked you to come up here and do this. They gave you the time off. They kicked in the fluids and the filter and stuff, man. So thank you guys very much for supporting what we're doing here, educating and inspiring people to have the confidence to go after this stuff. That's what Grease and Gears Garage is all about.
Thank you.
We are streaming this thing live. We're actually multicasting this. It's going out to 7 different social media channels. If you have any questions, every once in a while you'll see the box pop up in the corner that has questions from other people. Feel free to put your comments in. We'll get them answered as best we can.
Leak. So same thing, put it back. Okay, and where's our little one here?
That sound you hear in the background is the Fearless Flores. They're getting their machines fired up, getting ready to do another performance of the Ball of Steel.
Here, just because you make sure there's no road grime or dirt. That's our sealing surface here. Here you have it. So that's how you're putting a little piece together with a jigsaw. So, because we're not changing our O-rings, we're going to do a little bit of this, okay?
Okay.
A little extra assurance for no leaking, right? But those are the O-rings you would replace along with that.
I'll tighten it after I put the second one in.
Yep. So, and again, the drain plug here, these plugs, they are sealed by an O-ring, but adding an extra sealant will just give an extra caution that no oil seeps down past there. Push the button.
Thanks.
Yep. And that doesn't have to be nowhere near as tight as the bottom one because they're small screws. Here, let me feel what I'll feel what you did and let you know probably pretty good. But you have an idea. Yeah, she's great.
Let's do it.
We're in dance mode, by the way, just to let you know.
Yep, good. So you kind of got a feel for that once you do it a few times, you know. So, all right, that takes care of our primary.
So we're back down to engine oil.
Yep, back down to our engine oil. We're going to give this another minute or two, and we'll talk about something.
So how much will that take?
The engine oil?
Yeah.
This actually is a 3-quart system, but usually what we do, what I always do is drain the oil, drain the oil, add 2 quarts, 2.5 quarts in. Although it's called 3-quart, add 2.5 in it, start it up, warm it up. Now, on your drain plug here, on your dipstick on the plug, see there's a little line, those 2 marks right here. There's one here and one there. That's your full, high full, and that's low.
Low.
So you don't want to be any more than that. And the way to check your oil also is when it's hot, too.
Right.
So after we're going to add 2.5 quarts, we're going to start it up. We're going to let it idle for a minute or so. And obviously we'd probably let this run maybe a little bit longer than we're doing right here on for the Grease and Gears Garage here. But we'll let it run for a minute or so, and and also road grime and stuff gets in between here. So just sort of clean this area out, make sure it doesn't stays nice and clean all the time.
No, I kind of heard earlier that you guys had somebody had asked a question. How long do you let the oil go and to drain, right?
Oh, yep.
But I'm sure you covered already like the best practice of like
When the engine's hot, when the motor's, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I did write it down here earlier, you know, so, but yeah, obviously the best time to drain your oil is when the motor oil is hot.
and it's already going through the system, and you know you make sure you get everything, all the good stuff is or all the bad stuff is coming out before the good stuff's going in.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Not that I'm kibitzing, please. Please carry on. I actually had to resort to a coat over here, Mark.
The other one?
So wet and cold today am I
If
that I
it was
resorted
warmer,
to
it
a
would
coat.
be.
Quitter.
It would drain.
Right, right.
We're gonna put our plug in right now because
Okay.
most of the oil right there. All right, so we can, if you want to try and grab that hose, you know what I mean, without dipping your hand in here, just so you can plug
It's
that
nice
back
being up here watching other people do stuff.
Right?
A little party going on up here in the patio.
I can tell in Michelle's
Perfect.
very near future is going to be a handy motorcycle lift
Get that out of the way.
and a paper funnel.
What did we
And
use?
yeah, and a paper funnel. We can't be playing no games. When you need a funnel, you need a funnel.
You know how to use a damn screwdriver.
Yeah. I got a few of them.
We also didn't have an oil filter
And
wrench.
you know on those, you don't have to.
We didn't have an oil
over-tighten
filter
them,
wrench.
You know what I mean? You know how tight they. This is fun.
What was
I think
that?
me and Michelle make a great team. Chris and Mark, you guys can take the night off, and
Yeah, right. We'll
We're gonna
take
take care
over.
of
Watch,
Yeah,
I'll,
we're taking
I'll drop
over.
this mic right now.
not.
Rich
like
just
not
said I
too
got the
much.
night off.
Rich is lying
Check.
to you, Mark. Rich is lying. We gave Pat a couple days off at the beginning of the week. He's not here yet.
That
I don't
Pat.
understand.
Tired of pretending I'm Pat Jansen.
You got it
Good.
perfect. Yep. And then this, just gonna wipe this off a little bit here, clean this.
Filthy. Who owns this bike?
No.
It's awfully dirty.
Snap that right back on. And that's it.
Perfect.
Yep. So we're good with that right there. Now we need our well, I suppose the funnel would be good to use actually still, but if
Funnels? You want another
you
funnel?
still, you still have the
That
funnel?
one get retired?
Yes, no, we threw it away. You said
Oh.
no funnel. I'll make you
Well,
another
we
one.
can
make a
we can
second
do it. We
funnel.
can
Watch
do it
it.
without. We can do it without a funnel. You just got to be pretty cautious.
Come, we're sacrificing my drink.
Listen, that actually makes a really good funnel.
Chug, chug, chug,
Yeah.
chug, chug.
Just razor
chug.
blade that off. Done
There's
deal.
vodka in there. You know that, right?
All the good judges know that trick.
So while
She
we're
said.
making our special homemade funnel here,
Funnel 101.
Probably don't want any of the sugar that's in that drink.
Hey, if nothing else, we taught you how to make a funnel today. I can tell you that.
exactly.
Multiple ways.
It's one of the
More
first
and more,
things.
more importantly, everybody, now you know how to make a homemade funnel. They actually do work really good.
Yes, they
I've
do.
helped people on the side of the road. I mean, all kinds of stuff over the years.
The great thing is later on, if you keep that, we'll clean the oil out of it. If you have a potato and some tinfoil, Mark can show you some other things to make with that. Also useful on a good road trip.
Yes.
Very useful. Okay.
Maybe we need to do a segment on that.
Here, you're in charge. You're in charge, Michelle. We need a little step stool for Michelle.
Yeah.
There's a 6x6
That's
right
why
behind
we're
you.
lowering the bike tomorrow. I love it. Thanks.
Look at that, huh?
Sweet.
Well, you know what? The table does adjust, Rich.
We might not have a funnel, but we have $23,000 worth of other tools over here.
Yeah, I didn't even think to bring a funnel. They must have a funnel.
Sure we do. It's in Pittsburgh right now.
That's
Okay,
right.
Stay right there.
So
It's
this
right where it's supposed to be.
this full one also, right?
Yep.
Hanging above
All the
my
whole thing, all
toolbox.
2 quarts. I actually,
I'm gonna throw this
Believe-
funnel in my saddlebag.
Darts.
Oh
Not a
shoot!
bad
Always-
idea.
actually, believe it
Look,
or
I
not,
got so excited I actually spilled the oil.
Is that something that you guys went through? Is like, what's the basic stuff she should have in her saddlebag? 10 millimeter
No.
wrench,
10 millimeter wrench for your battery.
2 lengths of wire as long as the motorcycle
long-
with alligator clips on both sides.
It
Any-
gets you home.
Yeah.
It could get you home.
And what else?
We're going to put a half a quart. We're going to put 2.5 in.
All right, hold on. Made a big
Manual
mess.
says 3 quarts, but I put 2.5 in. Warm it up, see where we're at.
You know, a basic set of wrenches is not a bad idea. There's a lot of companies like Motion Pro makes a
Make a
basic
small
set.
little, small little tool pack that all the
Yep.
basic. Put about half of that in, Michelle.
You know, so you get your standard 7/16, half inch, 9/16.
Look on the side.
You're good.
All right.
And adjust.
Actually,
a
here,
nice,
put the funnel in here.
a nice mid-size adjustable wrench. Let's see, like this one here.
We'll leave that there. Trash.
Mid-size
Empty.
adjustable wrench is a good
Ah,
thing
nice.
to have because
Empty.
you can get a lot of stuff with that.
Thank you, sir.
You guys hear me okay?
And in today's world, one of the biggest things to have in your saddlebag,
Chapstick.
an emergency cell charger,
Is what?
an emergency cell phone charger.
Actually, those little,
Yeah.
they're really good.
You can get them now that actually have enough boost in them that you can jump your motorcycle with.
Yep.
But if nothing
Really?
else, if you're completely stuck on the side of the road and you're without a charge, if you didn't realize your phone was going dead, they have a charge in it that can
Actually,
bring
you
the phone
know
up.
what I have? It's excellent. Almost all bikes, we'll have to take a look at it here in yours. Maybe it could be on the other side, is most bikes also have a battery tender lead in the bike. There's a battery tender themselves.
This
you
is
go
something to talk about.
I believe I have one on.
the battery tender lead. There's a little thing that you
Do
can
you
buy.
have a battery tender?
Yes, I had it plugged
Okay.
in all winter.
That's
Yep.
one. That's one.
Battery maintenance is another huge thing with bikes.
Absolutely.
Exactly. But we were just talking about the extra auxiliary. There's a little thing that battery tender makes. You plug it into the battery tender lead, and it's got a USB on the end, so you can
Converts
take,
it. Oh,
so
great.
you can actually plug your regular cell phone cord, and you can
Into
bring,
it.
just
That's
have it. All
excellent.
you buy a spare cord, keep it with you. You'll always be able to charge your cell phone wherever you go.
Yep.
So, put your battery, and then, I mean, we're not going off the battery now. You got to put your oil dipstick back in, okay?
Yep.
Do that before we start it up. Where can we dispose
have we-
of
Here,
I'll
this
take care
oil
of the-
properly?
Wait, have we changed the filter yet?
No, we didn't change the filter yet because Mark was actually supposed to get the filter wrench to get that off.
Okay, try and
Okay.
turn that thing.
Sorry, Mark, I was distracted, and that was your job.
Okay, give it a shot.
He loosened it. Did you loosen it?
Did you loosen it?
Yeah. You still can't turn that off?
I got it.
Look at that.
I got it. Okay.
Hands of steel, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
thought we got ahead of ourselves. We got ahead of ourselves a little bit.
This is a human
I thought
filter wrench.
Mark was in charge of the
That was
oil
all.
filter.
That was all the years he spent in Japan studying monkey kung fu. He just
Yeah.
right
So-
on the end of that.
We're gonna
He's
spin
Chai
this
Kling
right
Tang.
Real
off.
quick.
Yeah. We got ahead of ourselves. So
Right.
now, when you put a new filter on,
Yep.
I always clean the surface off though. This surface right here,
Yep.
wipe it off clean. You should always wipe that surface off just to get any road grime or grit or anything like that there. Once it's clean, but there's a little bit of the oil, just like on a car. You know, you want to just rub your finger around on this here and get that. Thank you, and just have that sealant, just a little bit like that. That's it.
Okay.
You want to put this one back on?
Sure thing.
Now there is a proper oil filter wrench that we don't have in our $26,000 worth of tools here in Greasy
Well.
Gears Garage, and it's a simple wrench that you can have. It's actually a nice, simple little it's like a tin little cap that goes over the end of that.
A cup. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Like a
filter
little
cup.
cup. And then you'll have it'll go right on it. And you get a little bit of snug. So I'm going to tighten that up.
Yep, check out.
In all reality, you see people with those filter wrenches tighten them so tight that you can't get them off.
No, you don't need to tighten that.
Yeah.
You don't want to completely crush the metal. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
The metal filter against against the surface that it's going.
Yeah. In all reality, like in majority
But,
of
I mean,
cars,
I'm tightening a little bit more by hand than she did.
Yeah.
But if you have one of those wrenches, again, it's just like a little cup.
Just
See
snug
all
it
those
on
little
there.
ribs all the way around right there? It just goes over that, and then you just tighten as much as you can by hand.
Yeah.
And then just give it a little.
Give it a little snug, maybe a quarter of a turn or
Yep,
so.
that's all you got to do.
Right.
Because a lot
I
of the
tighten it.
filters,
You've got it tight enough without.
Yeah,
a
yep,
lot of the
exactly.
filters,
But
you can't get them off.
But you'll need that little wrench to take it off as well.
Yeah,
and
most
it'll make it
definitely.
much easier because then you'll have more leverage and it'll catch right on.
Okay.
Yeah, we've seen lately a lot of the filters we're pulling off. We're pounding screwdrivers through them to get them off because
To get
people
'em
tighten
off.
them so tight.
Yeah.
They do not need to be that tight.
Yep, and you don't need that.
Nope.
So you got a little bit of carb clean. Do you have some carburetor cleaner, Mark? So, and then basically just because you get that little bit of the drip down when you clean that,
Yep.
you spray a little bit of cleaner. Carb clean and a degreaser or something that you can clean it off with. Just leave it so it drips into the pan here for a little bit. Try and get in there and
Wipe it out a little
wipe
bit.
as much as you can out. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes you might have a little residual drip or something if it goes in a little crevice that you can't get. We are now done officially with the oil.
Thank you, sir. Oh, I will. Not shy here.
All right, we're gonna let the bike down now. Let the lift down.
There's your half quart right there yet. You in?
Crash.
Michelle, how long until you get a handy lift now?
What was that?
How long until you get your own handy lift?
I've got one of the little ones.
Do you?
I already grabbed one, yeah.
Clear.
Small guy.
This would be a nice addition for your garage.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, you want to do the honors?
Oh, sure.
A little bit of choke here.
All right. If you're up close to the mic rope, if you're up close,
Oh, run.
put your hands out. She's coming around.
Yep, and that's another thing. Always,
Start.
as a quick visual, yep, make sure it's always a neutral. Because Ollie doesn't, there's not a safety switch. You know what I
Right.
mean? Probably push it, and let it warm up for a minute.
How's that sound? Sound good?
Sounds good. Sounds good.
You did something wrong. I don't see anything leaking.
No smoke?
I said you did something wrong. I don't see anything leaking. Is the gas on?
No.
Did you turn that off? You turned it off?
Hell
Did you really?
Why, you left it on?
Yeah. Yep.
I always turn it off. It's a habit.
Yep.
You know what it wasn't leaking? It wasn't leaking any gas into the cylinder or the carburetors when it wasn't leaking.
Yep.
I can hop
Now.
off, right?
You should check when you check the oil level, depending on different bikes. Also, some of them should be on the jiffy stand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some should be upright. Some should be on the jiffy stand. All right.
To check the oil.
You have to check
Right.
the oil.
What about this one?
This one here has got to be upright because it's got the oil tank is up here, and you don't want to check it on the jiffy stand leaning over like that, and
Right.
want it on your full mark because you don't ride your bike when it's leaning
I
over.
actually read that.
Yeah, so you want
This one needs to
yeah,
be
so
upright.
this bike has to be upright to read it on those little the marks on the dipstick there. Yep.
Right.
Rev it up a little bit. Fun,
Ooh,
isn't that
crazy
fun?
woman.
She's all happy. Isn't this great?
Yeah.
I'll meet you
I
here
love
same
it.
time next year.
Right. Next year I'll ride up.
That's right.
Yeah.
I know.
Crazy.
So in the background while we're doing this, the Flores, Flying
All
Flores,
right, we can shut it off now.
the fabulous Flying Flores are doing their show. Amazing to watch that ball
All right,
steal.
now. Key off.
Yep.
As her son races around her, narrowly missing her body by inches, and reaches out to give her a high five. Get your cameras ready and watch closely.
Wipe it all off first. I got a little drip. That's crazy with someone in the cage. Okay. Put that back in.
One more time. Would you like to see some more? All right, we're gonna give you more. But first, we'd like to take this time to tell you that we
Where's that little flashlight? It's kind of dark underneath here.
What do you need?
That little
Flashlight.
Where did I put it?
Right up there. That?
Oh, up top. Thought it was a core.
Can you hold that for me?
show everyone how fear is for others, how you are living fearless right alongside the extreme team right here at the Roadhouse. We would also like you to keep in mind directly
That's pretty full.
That's right.
Okay.
You have the opportunity of a lifetime. You can step inside.
Well, you happy with that?
Yes. 2.5 quarts. It's like 2.5. The system calls for 3 quarts,
Yeah.
but you always put about 2.5 in. 2 3/4 quarts is where you always put it in. So, and that's why you always want to do it, you know, when it's hot.
Now,
We're good.
for all the stuff that you guys covered here, where are we at as far as the general overall maintenance? Summarize this and tell me what you guys went through.
Obviously, first the tire pressures. Check your tire pressures. Look at your tire condition, the tread depth. Like I said, you can get any auto parts store, even at the Harley dealer. They got a little air gauge with a tread depth, built into it. 330 seconds is the low limit of what you should. That's the least amount you can have before you're gonna get your bike inspected, and your tires are getting low. So that. I told her to give her a visual on your brake pads. As far as there's a spec for brake pad thickness. Once you get to know your bike, you get a quick visual and know how thick your brake pad thickness is. Obviously, Michelle would be able to, if you wanted to, look up the spec to see what a brand new brake pad thickness is, so you can look at it and get a visual of that. So tires, pressures, your brake pads, your belt tension. Also, we looked at that, and in the condition of your belt, you got an open space right there.
Yep.
Whenever you wash your bike, it's always good to get a little visual there. Roll your bike. And then when it's your bike, you get to know your bike, and you check these things all the time. The air cleaner is one last thing also.
That's what
so
I was going to ask
your
next.
air cleaner, that's actually one more thing. You pull these two screws, you pull your screws out, and you get a visual how your air cleaner looks. You have an aftermarket, an open air cleaner on here. The stock air cleaner has a big plastic backing here.
Okay.
So you have an it's probably a Screaming Eagle air cleaner, which they remove the whole back on it because you got a set of Vance High pipes on it. So,
another thing to mention here is like all these things that he's talking about, the tread depth, the brake specs, the belt tension, all of that stuff can be found in the service manual. Rule number 1 for owning a motorcycle, no matter what your mechanical ability is whether you get it from Harley Davidson or you get it from a company like Haynes, have a service manual. If you're going to have a machine like this, take the responsibility of having reference. And I know you can get a lot of this stuff online, but having a service manual is really step 1, because if there's something you're not sure about, you're going to be able to go to that and know where to start asking questions.
Are you talking about the one that you gave me a copy of, or the one that actually came with the bike, the smaller one? You're thinking about the
one that comes with the bike is like
generic.
It's basic and generic.
Right.
You want something that you're really going to be able to use as reference to,
right.
if you have questions.
Yeah, with accurate information in it.
Right.
There's one other thing. Now, you guys were talking about battery maintenance. In addition to keeping your bike on a battery tender throughout the winter, another great way to conserve your battery is just simply unhook it.
Right.
Yep.
You can pull the seat off and unhook it for the winter. Motion Pro makes a great little tool. This is one of the most overlooked things.
Cables.
They make a little thing that slips on the end that you shoot some cable lube into. It keeps that, because what ends up happening here is if these get weather in them like they will, they'll actually start to rust.
Okay.
And then the cable frays inside, it'll become stiffer and hard to use, and then it breaks.
Yeah, it won't snap back as much as exactly.
So
there's more things, Yep.
that starts getting a little more advanced, but from where you're at now, all the information you got from Rich today, that's where you're going next.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, the longer you have the bike, the more things that you want to do to it and take care of it more, and those are more things that you'll do down the road as well. Yep.
But that's it. Sounds
we
pretty
good?
Sounds great.
How do you feel about it now? Walking away from today, you had no real experience in basic motorcycle maintenance. How do you feel about your?
I could probably change my oil next time. Fine.
Yeah.
Just fine on my own.
Right on.
I have no problem with that.
Right on, and that's what it's about, man. So really happy to be able to do this. Rich, thank you so much for coming out with us, and thank you for sharing this experience with everybody. We're Grease and Gears Garage on the progressive stage here at the Roadhouse Laconia Live. Looks like we're going to take a little break for a couple hours. We're actually going to get set up and do Shop Talk Live from this stage in just a few short hours. So if you guys aren't doing anything, 9 p.m. Thursday Eastern Standard Time, we always go live with Shop Talk. We're going to do it live from this stage. We're going to have the Weir sign behind us. Hopefully the rain is done, and we're going to roll up the walls because, otherwise it's going to be kind of dark.
Rain's cleared up here in
Otherwise, the
Laconia,
Weir
so
sign
it
will
looks
be
pretty
on
nice.
the other side of that wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So once again, we want to thank the Roadhouse. We want to thank Spectral Oils for all the help today. Progressive Motorcycle Insurance, the #1 motorcycle insurance provider in the United States. And Rich, Harley Davidson of Southampton.
Yep.
For the oil, the filter, and your time here today. And stick around, man. We're going to come back starting tomorrow with even more. We're going to actually take this motorcycle. We're going to lower the suspension, make the riding position a little more comfortable for Michelle.
I thought you were going to say we're going to cut the neck and chop it.
Well,
she
doesn't know that's going to happen tonight while she's not here.
We could get it way lower if she would just let us hardtail the back of that son of a bitch. It'd be awesome. But listen, stick around, man. We still got 2 full days
Look, I'm
of
falling
programming.
off. You're making me so nervous.
2 full days of programming coming here on Progressive's Greasy Gears Garage, live from Laconia. Stick around. We'll be back with more tomorrow morning.
We're done?
See ya.